Welcome to the Hot Slice. I am creative director of Pizza Today, Josh Callen. Along with me, the executive editor of Pizza Today, Denise Greer. Hello, Denise.
Hello, Josh. Sorry, I had to feel like I had to
match my enthusiasm.
The tone. I had to match the enthusiasm, the tone. And hey, today is a good reason to be enthusiastic. Our guests are amazing. So I went to Atlanta in January to visit a dynamite pizzeria, Triple J's Pizza, and I got to talk to owners, LaSonia and Jay Terrence. And this couple and their sons are amazing. What they have going is building a legacy pizzeria from the ground up. And they started with a food truck. And they started with a small food truck and then added a huge shipping container style food truck. I mean, this thing is massive. And then right before the pandemic, they opened their brick and mortar. So, and this was literally a month before everything got shut down in Atlanta. They opened their brick and mortars. They honestly don't know what, running a pizzeria life is like before the pandemic. They don't have
in the before times.
Yeah, they don't have that preconceived notion of what things should be or how they have to be. And you know what? They're rocking and rolling. They have national acclaim. They're well known in Atlanta. They
have an excellent TikTok channel. Yes. It's great.
Their TikTok is amazing. I love their TikTok, and it flows over to the Instagram stuff too. And it's kind of funny because it's two different audiences with the Instagram versus the TikTok. They let me know when I was there that the Instagram they can post a special or something and they get feedback right away. Like conversion is huge on Instagram versus TikTok. It's more of a kind of a national following. Or even international following, I guess. So they're just awesome.
I was so happy to hear their story. It's just a process, like you were just talking about, with it, a smaller food truck, then a larger food truck, and then a brick and mortar, and the family dynamic around it all. It being all family based, just basically, is also just another element to their story that's amazing. So. Yeah, I didn't get to go with you to Atlanta for this. Katie was involved in the shoot, but I am so happy that I got to meet Jay and LaSonia on this podcast.
And they were able to build this business while they were going through some personal tragedy. They lost their oldest son, and they built some inner memorials to him even with the business. So it's really kind of a touching tribute that they do to him with the business. And they're just strong people, and I love their story.
All right, well, we'll quit wasting your time, audience.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll just get into Triple J's.
Right on.
Bacio is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, a decade of exceptional Italian pizza cheese, unmatched consistency, and partners that have become family. If you haven't had the chance to try it, purchase Bacio today and enroll in the Gold Club to receive cash back for every pound you buy. That's right, get rewarded for every single pound of cheese purchased. Schedule a demonstration at baciocheese.com/hotslice to learn more. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Bacio. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
All right.
All right.
First, I like the backdrop there. That's nice. Yeah.
Oh, so
you guys got it set up.
Let's kick that off with talking about that sign, because it's a really interesting story of how that sign ended up where it's at. And I really liked that story. So I visited Triple J's, saw you guys about a month ago, a little longer than that maybe. And so great place. And they told me the story of that sign. So I'd really love for you guys to share that.
How about that? So we were putting it together. We just opened up our brick and mortar. As you know, we was opened since 2015 with the food truck. We opened our first brick and mortar, February of 2020. So we were bootstrapping it, financing it all myself with my retirement and stuff. So I'm trying to get a lot of second generation. It's a second generation restaurant. I bought a lot of secondhand equipment. So I found a place on the internet that makes these signs. So I'm like, man, I was able to get this sign for $1,100, and I just have to install it myself. So I'm like, man, it's the cheapest thing, but they ship it,
Yeah.
and you got to worry about it. So I'm like, okay, so I order it quick, fast. I'm so excited. Well, I didn't check with the city of Atlanta. That only allows you to have one that's about 36 inches wide. You can see this is a whole lot bigger than 36 inches.
Oh, wow.
So when I submitted my paperwork for the permitting, they said, no, you can't put that up at all. In addition, they can't have light shining out of it like it does. The light has to be halo behind the sign. So it was like, so it's not we do. Of course, they won't give my money back. So we was like, we're going to find a place to put it. So we put it in. That's fine.
The city of Atlanta said you're not putting that huge, gigantic sign outside. not without getting it through building and permits anyway.
You know, that's something I would have never ever thought about even.
No.
Like, I mean, that's kind of a first. I've never heard of that. So
they have Subway across the street. They all light shining. Well, we changed the city ordinance a couple of months. I'm like, for God's sakes, it's this little sign, but it worked out perfectly though.
Yeah, because it's such a great branding piece. Like the minute you see that sign, you're like, I'm at Triple J's. Here we go. This is it. So that's the great thing.
Everybody wants to take a picture.
They
when
do.
They get
Yeah.
Once they open it,
This was the perfect spot to take a picture.
So when they come, this is where they take their pictures.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Let's talk a little bit about your setup right now, because you guys are actually not doing dine-in currently right now, correct?
We're not. And, we talked about it a little bit before. We have somewhat of a little civil war with our government, kind of where the governor was saying you're open, the mayor was saying you're not. They kind of been going back and forth. Now you can open, but we've been riding this pandemic up and down where as soon as it seemed like we're going to open up, we close.
Yeah.
In addition, it's very small. You haven't been here, but it's only 1,169 square foot, including the bathrooms and the kitchen. So this area that I'm in right here is only about, 500 square feet. So it's not a lot of space anyway. And if you was trying to practice social distancing, it was just like, you know what?
Impossible.
It works better just keeping it close. And I have mentor pizza owners around the country that's like, man, why don't you just stay close? And I'm like, it works better. It's just like a big food truck now. And then we got to worry about it.
And you guys are used to that because, I mean, with your food truck business, I mean, you've been rocking the food truck for many years, so you're kind of well known with that, right?
Even though you said it's like 1,100 square foot, that's probably like triple the size of what you had, 4 times the size of what you had in that truck. So I mean, it feels big to you guys for sure.
Yeah,
the penthouse compared to us. So we can do nice interviews and chill out. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is pretty big for us, but and that's why this property sat for maybe 2 years. It used to be a taco joint prior to us taking it, but a lot of the restaurants couldn't deal with it because it was just way too small to have a full menu. Pizza and wings, we're good to go. So yeah, it's lavish to us.
Let's just say this: working in a food truck in the summer, everybody hot. Touch somebody, instant attitude.
Yeah.
So here where we're able to like, okay, I'm going to go to my own separate part of the store. Calm down, and then we'll be back. That's the difference between working in the food truck and keeping it all family and being happy.
You get to know the very worst of people. You working in a food truck in the middle of the summer, don't you?
We got burned to show.
Oh my God, do we?
And you guys actually had some realizations once you opened the store that maybe you guys want to do more of the food truck and let your sons do more of the in-house, kind of tell us a little bit about how that came about and kind of why you kind of dig more of the, the food truck vibe versus the in-house vibe.
Just in my jobs, I've worked in law enforcement and so I just like being out and about. And I realized with the truck, going to different events, it's kind of like people are so happy to see you for that sort of personal note. I've been knocking on the door, wondering, what are we doing here? And I'm the police, and it's just no one's happy to see you. But when you're in a food truck, everyone is so happy to see you. Like, hey, it's food truck. And then there's pizza on the truck. It's like, oh my God, how you can make pizza in the truck? So it kind of works out for us. So in addition, it's kind of like being here, even in my jobs before. I've had jobs where I had to work in cubicles, and I just don't like it. I like being out and about, exploring, pulling in new communities. And now with our somewhat social media fame because we're like official social media.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that because I wanted to talk about that real quick because I just went through your TikTok and man, I'm going to tell you that is very highly entertaining. There's this one where you do the hiring scene for 2020. Yes. Everybody needs to stop right now and go watch that. That is hilarious. When he says with or without the boot, I just lost it. I lost it.
Cool right there. That's how it is a little bit. I mean, a lot of our workers are in the house, our sons and our sons' friends from local colleges around here. Georgia Tech is right around the corner. We had a couple Georgia State. But it's kind of tough. I mean, people just, and they don't even care. They just be like, oh, well, you want me and you don't. And it's like, okay, they're hired. What choice do we have? So, that's a lot of people are looking for it. So taking that show on the road is kind of like cool, too.
Yeah.
So
it's so authentic, you know. I think that's why people really gravitate to it. It's so authentic. It's so you guys, I mean, I had never met you guys until today, and I already felt like I already knew you, like, coming into this interview. So, yeah, it's great stuff.
And I'm happy about that. And that's another thing I told my sons. I said, I think I'm connecting to people.
Absolutely.
They know me, and I don't know them. So I'm kind of, I said I'm from the streets. So I'm from also Philly. So someone asks you what time it is, they're trying to get you to look down so they can sucker punch you or something. So I'm like, when someone's staring at me, I'm like, who's this person? I'm forgetting I'm a social media influencer. So, like, oh, so how you doing? You know what I mean? I think
fantastic.
That's what we want. It's all based around family and me and my wife, and that's our brand. I was going away from it initially, just real quick, trying to do what I thought I saw a piece of companies being. And then when I tell people about our real story about why we call our piece the B-side, it's because we lost our son Brandon to cancer. His name was B. And more stories, it was like, say you. People, they want to know you. They don't want to know this story that you made up in your mind.
Yeah, they want to connect with you, and telling your story is very important. Like when I sat down, and we sat down and talked for a long time, and just getting to know you guys, that was amazing to me. Like I love getting into pizzerias and actually getting to talk to you, and your story is amazing. And I love, so Josh, you weren't with us when we visited, but so I'm sitting there talking to Jay, and then Sonia walks up, and Jay calls her the engine.
I saw that in the story.
I love that. That is like, so Jay, why don't you tell us why is Sonia the engine? Because I love that.
I mean, well, that's at first she sparked the idea. You should make pizza on the weekend with my sons as a way to hang out. I've been traveling a lot. I work for the TSA. After 9/11, I took a job with the federal government, so I travel 4 or 5 days a week. To this day, I'm about 15 months out from retirement, so I'm close.
Woo!
Yes. One was like, you know what? I think I should like sell your pizza. And I'm like, that is the most dumb idea ever. Like, no one wants to buy my pizza. And she's like, no, I think we should sell it. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe then we got a food truck. And then with the food truck, it was a stick shift, the first one. So I know how to drive manual. She didn't know how to drive one. So I would have to work my real job. And then on the weekends, when I got them off, I would have to take the truck out, and then people start reaching out to us like, we want you to come out. Want you to come out. And I couldn't get off all the time. So she had to go to driving school. I couldn't teach her. I was too Marine with her trying to teach her. So learned how to drive the stick. And then after that, she's just been getting it done. So most of everything, if someone's responding to your email, it's her. I'm a little more comfortable with chit-chatting because I'm used to knocking on people's doors and I can make a rapport with a suspect, with a bad guy. I'm used to doing that because growing up in the streets. She's more used to being more on point and handling everything that really run the business.
Now,
that would have made a great TikTok right there.
Yeah.
You teaching her how to drive a manual?
Actually, he didn't. I learned that. He did. Yeah, he went to school.
He took me out, and it was.
You're like, no.
You go
all it took was once.
Right. And you're like, don't. If you yell at me, it's not gonna work. That was me.
Yeah.
It was tough love. But the guy that taught me how to drive a stick when he sent me to driving school, my first question was, are you going to yell at me? He said, absolutely not. I learned it in one day.
Yeah.
See, that's how it works. That's so funny. It's hilarious. Now, Lasonia, we didn't get into this as much, but can you talk a little bit about the differences between, because you're kind of the one that was operating both the truck and the restaurant. What are some of the differences between, the operation of the truck versus the operation of the restaurant? That kind of maybe people that haven't done vice versa can kind of learn from that.
I think the difference is with the truck, you're able to, meet people, go to new events. And like we have been to some of the most amazing events and met people along the way that really made a difference. And when you meet these people and you build a rapport and everything, sometimes just on first meeting and hearing the stories and the reason why they wanted to have a food truck or that particular event, that was one of the things that's one of the things that I do miss about, not having a food truck in the pandemic. I'm not able to meet as many people in one location and just connect with so many. Now, people do come to the restaurant and we chit chat. Like you said, some people act like they know us already. So when people come up and kind of call me by my name, I'm a little bit like, oh, okay.
Hey, wait.
But, I think building that rapport when they come up is great. And I love talking to people. I like making people happy. So it's like being out in the food truck, you get to do that. You get to engage while they're waiting for their food. You get to talk to them more. You get to meet more people at one time. So I think that was one of the difference between once we got the store, it's like you do get to meet people, but they coming up, sporadically as opposed to that whole gathering.
I got you.
With the food truck, it's all about speed. Here is a lot more forgiving. It's a restaurant, so they know 20 minutes to a half hour is a comfortable time to wait for. With the truck, you got 5-8 minutes.
Yeah.
And they knocking down your door like the Walking Dead, like, what's going on back there? So now we have 20 minutes. If we take 20 minutes in the spot, we like, man, we're running behind. Where on the truck is like 20 minutes. They give me my money back. Back there? So it is a lot more forgiving here. And it's a lot more whole pies. Where on the truck, we sold slices. So we push the slices. It was better margins with the slices because we could raise the prices a little bit. Where the pie, people won't pay $29 for a pie, but when we cut them in 10 slices, so that's a big difference too. The margins.
So speaking of the slices and the pies, I'm guessing the Detroit style didn't come along until you guys got the brick and mortar. Because could you do that in the food truck, or did you do that in the food truck?
No, we didn't. I had a mentor, Johnny's Pizza out of North Carolina. He's been helping me out, giving me game throughout the years, and he mentioned, and also reading Pizza Today, that you should have at least 2 to 3 different options of pizza, and our menu was comfortably small on the truck, and people were accepting of that. But in a restaurant, it's like, what do you got? Like, what do you have to sell? And if you just had slices and whole pies, that wasn't going to get it done. And coming to the conference that we went, I guess almost 4 years. Yeah. And I got exposed to Detroit's at the conference. And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. That I met a representative for Lloyd's Pans. I'm like, so this is pretty simple, and we can use our same sauce. We use our same cheeses. We use our same dough. We just had to let it ferment and let it proof a lot longer. So we decided to add it. And another thing, they didn't really have Detroit's here in Atlanta. So
that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, how's it been accepted?
It's been accepted pretty well. We still have to give them a little education.
Yeah.
So I got a TikTok for that coming up too.
I like it.
It's funny too. Where it's like she gets, it is the TikTok is they're frustrated trying to explain that it's not Chicago style, because to them
it's deep dish.
Like Chicago style is like, it's not, and you're trying to get a word in, and they're like, no, I had that. Like, no, you didn't. Detroit's been 15 years. But the good news about it, they didn't have anything to compare it to. Because the New Yorkers down here, and pretty much Connecticut all the way down to DC, they compare New York style pizza tastes like. And from Philadelphia, you have an idea what you can, different variations is fine, but you know what a New York slice is supposed to taste like. Same thing with Chicago style. You know what a good Chicago style pie should taste like. But Detroit's is like, okay. So it's like our first exposure. Different, another one, I think another pie store just opened up, Emily's or something like that. So it is common here, slowly but surely.
But they look fantastic. You guys are killing it. They look fantastic.
They were so good. We even gave it to the hotel staff, like the valet, the front desk people. They were like, "All right, thanks." I was like, "If you like it, go visit them. Go visit them."
So your more traditional style pizza, is that like really influenced from Philly pizza?
It sure is. Growing up in Philly, just being a single parent household, just getting a slice and a little Tahitian treat was my lunch every day of the summer. So we've been getting slices every day. And then when we moved to a suburb of Philly, how about that? Her mom didn't let her eat and stuff like that.
No.
She's two-parent household. That's different. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. And I learned how to make pies when I was working as a dishwasher when I was 18. And I had a chef trained, quick story with that. We had a French trained chef working there. It was at the Four Seasons in Philadelphia. But he had to still make lunch items for the corporate side of the building. And he hated it. He just felt like he was as trained. He was from France. He spoke French. He's like, I'm not making this.
That was below him.
It was below him. Exactly. I'm like, well, I like it. He said, can I make it? He was like, well, if you mess up, I'm going to get in trouble. Eventually, he started letting me make it. I thought it was fun, and I could take home the scraps, whatever anyone did eat. And I didn't get back to it until we moved to a suburb of Philadelphia, which was Morgantown, where they didn't have any good pizza. All they had was a big box brand. They had a Domino's and a Papa John's close by, and that was okay. And then my sons, I made pizzas with them on the weekends and so that's pretty much our bread and butter. And they don't have a lot of slice things in Atlanta. Atlanta is about whole pie and big box stores. They're not about slices. So that in itself is like, we're kind of, it's Piedmont Park, which is right about a block away, which is our central park. In essence, it's the biggest park in the city. And people, they just want something small that they can grab and keep it moving. We had a pita spot out on the corner that went out of business. And I think a big reason for that was that, you eat pita. It wasn't pita. It was it was called pita, but it was like Middle Eastern style food. The food was great. With the park, you just want something light, grab a slice and keep it moving. And we got bars that way. So it worked out for us. So that's just our bread and butter being an East Coast guy.
Sounds like you got a prime location.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, so they are right around the corner from one of that hotel we stayed at years ago in Midtown.
Oh, yeah.
You can think about that park that's right there, that Piedmont Park, that huge, beautiful park. They're literally right around the corner from
that's a great location.
All those events and things happen. So what's the forecast right now for this summer? Are they holding a lot of events? Are you seeing that uptick where you're going to be able to capitalize on that?
We hope. I mean, they get posted and then they get dropped. We had a couple of our food truck guys that were still taking events, and the New Year's was supposed to get back rolling, and then we had that spike and they canceled all the New Year's Day events. Instead of like in New York, they have the Apple, we have a peace drop. And that's a big event. There's going to be 10,000 people there, and they canceled it at the last moment. So I guess we just kind of, not speaking on any political leanings, we got to kind of see how the political stuff go, because sometimes it gets pushed that way and it seems like we're coming back to normal. Other times it gets pushed in another direction and we're going back in the cave. So we really don't.
If we've learned anything in the last few years, it's just not to get the hopes up. Just kind of maintain, keep going.
Well, and like we were discussing when I was there, you guys are still rocking and rolling without the Midtown, the normal Midtown, buzz that's usually there pre-pandemic, and what that's going to look like maybe in 2022, 2023. You guys haven't experienced that yet, but you have extreme success even in this kind of boxed in kind of way.
Yes, I think so. But I think that's an example of ignorance being bliss. Because we never really had the events, and events are big. We have a jazz festival, 50,000 people.
Well, there's a zoo there too, right?
Zoo is not too far. So like when the events come back, we have a breakfast spot on the corner and a bar on the corner. They like, look, man, on those days, like Pride, the longest running gay pride parade runs right down our intersection. And it was the 50th anniversary, and they canceled it to do a quarter of it. So this year is going to be the 51st, I believe, anniversary. And that one day, the breakfast joint said they do $100,000 that day. So I'm like, well, see, we don't know that. So we have an experience, so we just like, okay, what I mean? We get
You know,
he's like, "Woo, we cool with that."
Maybe it's sort of a blessing that you guys, are able to get established, get on your feet, get everything systems in place before all this comes back to you.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
We had one bigger pizza joints is called the name's Fanini's, and they got about 8 shops, but for the first 12 weeks of the pandemic, they closed completely.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just opening, so a lot of people gave us a shot because they couldn't get pizza from a lot of the restaurants. So I totally agree. It's a blessing how it kind of worked out for us.
Yeah.
And I said, even if it's bliss, and when that comes back, then I guess it'll really be plentiful.
And I think you all are ready for like rushes like that, because I mean, dealing with the food truck and having lines, down the block, waiting to get that pizza and just being able to push it out the window. I think that's going to really help with those, because I know it probably helped Super Bowl Sunday. How was your Super Bowl?
It went pretty swell. I mean, the third parties were jumping, and that's a double-edged sword, of course, with the 30%, that we got to pay out. But it was working pretty well. And we do have like I say, we're used to someone getting in line and getting out in about 2-3 minutes. So when we go 15 minutes for us, we're banging our heads up against the wall. But the customer, because that 20-minute wait for them is nothing.
Nothing.
Speak to that.
And I just wanted to say with the system in place, what Josh was talking about last Super Bowl, is kind of what helped us, because we were swamped last Super Bowl. It actually, we had to actually get another oven so we can be prepared for this Super Bowl. So to be to that point and getting systems and everything in place, and that's exactly what we learned from the last Super Bowl in terms of systems and how people were pre-ordering. People were ordering like the day before, the night before. Instagram, was really jumping. So it did teach us how to get those systems in place, and it really worked out for this year. It was a much smoother run. People were in and out. People were getting their food on time. And get home to watch. It was perfect.
Our backs didn't hurt as much.
Right.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Me and my boys are tall, so I'm 6'1". My boy is 6'4", and my other boy is about 5'10". And our prep table is just slightly short enough that we got to bend our backs just a little, and that little small back.
Then get you right.
This time I could give them a spill, and also bring up the conference real quick. I also learned how to take more of a following role here rather than my traditional leadership role that I've always played in our lives, where I just kind of filled in wherever they needed me. So I just gave my boys a break. She pretty much ran the front of the house. I kind of did when the boys needed a break, so our backs felt a little better than Super Bowl last year.
Let's just say the kitchen was very helpful.
No.
That's awesome. And I've been in your kitchen. It's like, here's the make line, behind it is the ovens, and that's it. You're turning, so being able to have 2 or 3 people in there, I imagine it's like trying to figure out how to coordinate each other where you're not hitting each other as you go.
Ghetto waltz, I guess.
All right. You are dance partners in there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So tell us, what's going on with you right now with the shop? Like, are there any pain points that you're dealing with? Are there any things that you're really excited for? Like what's happening with you?
You mean like in terms of the restaurant? Like,
yes. Yeah. With your restaurant.
I think like the downside is sometimes after like Super Bowl and all the festivities gone, and then the winter months are a lot slower than your average summer, spring, when the people are out and about. So you just kind of have to refocus and try to get some other ideas to kind of get people in, because at the end of the day, the bills don't change.
Right. They're the same every month.
But the bills are what they are.
How about that? And I think focus is important. The focus of my boys, my staff, they're 22 and 25. They're both quasi managers. They know they're going to take over the business at some point. They want to be entrepreneurs. They didn't go into service and get a job for 30 years like me. They want to be entrepreneurs. And when we have the big events, that's the double-edged sword also, where we like, Atlanta has a lot of big, they have the All-Star games. They had the World Series. They had, it was kind of like, it's just money coming in fist over fist. And then it's like, but you still got to give the same performance when it's only 10 people in the crowd. I've heard that from different rappers that I like. When they first was on tour, and they was the first act, and it was like, it's 10 people, but the guy that's bringing you out, they want you rocking hard for those first 10 that came to the show early. And I'm telling you, even on these slow days on a Monday, they still want the same performance. Like the ovens cook a lot faster when you're not putting a lot of pieces through it. And you can't just leave it in there for the 8 minutes, because now it's going to cook in 6 because there's not a lot of pies going through. And it's like getting my boys to have the level and the focus that we got about the same quality. So that's getting them to take more ownership of it. My boy wants to kind of take the food truck from us, which is almost reversing our plan. Like he thinks he's a young man.
Right.
I can take it out on tour and this and that. And I'm like,
and that's the face of it, you know. So it's like,
that's cool, because I do see that. And then more people are asking for us to put another location somewhere. And I'm like, okay, if you can take the truck in that area, work it a few months, and then go to another area, maybe we can pick the perfect location for a second location and get it going. And
that's the best way to do it.
It's the best way to test a market.
Yeah.
That's the plan, but it's like, you know, if you crash the truck, and we got our first truck towed. So it's like, it's, you know, it's a little different when you're taking your whole business on the road, and the roads of Atlanta are horrible. So it's like, you're rolling the dice every time you go out. I'm like, you know, so that's a short-term goal, focus every day. And then long-term goals is like, okay, what are we going to do? I can retire. We really want to, you know, get another location, because my boys can pretty much run it. And we can run the truck. Do we need another location? And it's just going to be our second part. And I'm hopeful maybe I can retire at 50, give my next portion of another 15 solid years of trying to build something. Or we want to just retire and go to Belize and sit on the beach.
Hey, either one works.
I think that works.
I'd go to the other one. I'd do the Belize, but you know,
they accept U.S. currency.
You get bored even in paradise sometimes, though. You need that drive, that push, that stuff to do.
I think so too.
Yeah, too. If I did.
Josh, did you see their truck? Did you see the shipping container, the huge food truck? I mean, it is massive. I couldn't imagine driving.
Very impressive.
That, by the way.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to drive it.
It is. That's great. Using the mirrors.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, especially, man, the traffic in Atlanta is like it's insane.
It's tough, and every day someone's getting shot for this driving too slow. It's like, you wouldn't believe how mad people get driving behind a slow food truck. They get angry. It's like,
wow,
so many fingers, you wouldn't believe.
Just start throwing pizza out the window, slices out to them, you know. Like, here, sorry.
Just take back roads all the way then.
Even the back roads. Being on that truck, you are guaranteed to get the bird at least 2-3 times in a day trying to get back and forth to your events.
Hey, that's when you throw a card out and says free slices where we're going.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm trying to think of another question that I had. I had a question in my head, and it just like it's my Monday, so it just like popped right out of my head. But
I want to speak to that family thing that I mentioned, being at the conference, because I know the conference is coming up, and just like I said, I had a class on wives starting piece of businesses, and they're having to learn their role. And I just thought that was like a real good class. It was so unique. There wasn't a lot of people in there, because I guess it was like maybe there's a unique problem for the family-owned business. If y'all have that class still, I would suggest people go to it, because it does put things in proper perspective.
It really does.
And I think one guy, it brought me back to one of my sons saying, I got on him kind of hard, and he bucked up at me. And when you buck up, if I don't tolerate disrespect. So if you buck up, I kind of get close enough that I can reach you. I did that to him, and he said, "Hey man, you can't do that. You're my coworker. You're not my dad here." And I said,
"Yeah,
I guess that is right."
That's right.
The pressure on you, like I could do over not cleaning up your room and I listen to your mom.
Right.
And that class kind of brought home a lot of those points that you gotta chill. And then when she doesn't want something, so you might see all the red. If you I don't know if you can see, but the chairs are red. The backdrop is red. Red is her favorite color. And I'm like, we can't have all this red. Well, it's her business. If she wants some red, if she's the CEO, you gotta let her have what she wants. She's the CEO. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So that was pretty cool.
I love that family dynamic you guys have.
I do too. It's the best.
You know, I look at it as you're building a legacy pizzeria from the ground up, whereas a lot, you know, you see some of these pizzerias, they've been doing it for generations. That's what you're setting up right now, is a generational pizzeria. I mean, you're setting up that concept.
But I have to get them to grab that baton, which is not as easy as you would think. Because if they don't grab the baton, they won't do it. And I read a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and it speaks to millionaires, then the second generation and the third generation. About 50% of the third generation weren't millionaires anymore, because most millionaires are just mom and pop shops of any genre, cleaners, plumbers, and whatever. But the kids always go to school to be a lawyer, and they don't want to work as hard as their parents. And then they want to do something else. And by the time the third generation, the money is gone, at least the millionaire status. And I'm trying to get people to recognize that you really got to grab this baton if it's really going to be something. I'm trying to get one to even go to school. I'm like, no, we can muscle this thing by this muscle grease, but if that's even a term. But I'm like, someone has to go to college, for God's sake. So I'm like, if we're going to have multiple stores, we got to learn how to do it. Like I got to take a job at a franchise to kind of learn the inner workings or how to run multiple locations. Is not as easy as they think. So that is my plan, to build a legacy. But it's like, you know, if it's going to live on, y'all got to step up.
And I think too, that was the best free training ever, is when we had the food truck. Initially starting out, because for the first 2 years, it was just me and my son. My younger son was in college. So me and my middle son.
So finishing his high school.
Well, finishing high school. And
then his first year of college,
he went to college. So, you know, learning as we go, a lot of different things, the system, you know, what people expect. It wasn't much overhead when we had the truck. You know, compared to when you get a brick and mortar, the truck, you load up, you go to commissary, you load up for that day, you're out, you sell it, you come back, life is good. You get a brick and mortar, you sell, you got rent, you got food costs, you got
24/7 problems. 24/7 problems.
And real quick, with that, during those years, we got an opportunity of a lifetime with Delta. Delta Airlines is headquartered, and it's right near the airport, where they have solid grounds at the airport. But their cafeteria closed for 6 months for remodeling. And one of them came up with the right idea, was have food trucks there until the cafeteria was back up and running. So we was there 3 days a week of steady 20,000, you know, employees. That's where they do their training at. So even people would have to come get their certified training there. But I couldn't be there. I still had a full-time job, and my boy was away at school, so her and my oldest boy, Jeremiah, and my wife, they just had to hold it down every day of just grinding it out. And going into that fire really helped us as well.
And I think that's when you learn how to do everything. You have to be the cook. You have to be somebody there to entertain the crowd. You know, you have to be, you know, managing the food and make sure nothing is burned. And I mean, you learn so much in such a small space. And that's why I just felt like it was free training, not to mention coming to the conventions and also reading, you know, other people's stories and Pizza Today and what they go through and what worked for them. It really helps when you're trying to come together and make a business. Research is extremely important.
Absolutely.
Even, you know, because I went to the conference, and I told every other independent pizzeria owner we have the food truck, and our dream was to open up a pizzeria, and 100% told us not to do it.
I can see that.
You don't have this, and I know all the reasons why they told us not to now. But we still did it anyway, because this is our dream, so we had to do it.
It's cool. But you learn everything from it, because like with food costs, overhead, we had none of that. Brick and mortar, different story.
Brick and mortar is a whole different beast from the food trucks. But you know, people that come to the show, we have a lot of people that just own food trucks that come to the show. We have a lot of people that own brick and mortars. We have a lot of people that do the mix between the two. So you guys kind of are amongst great people that are in your same vein, that are just trying to maneuver those different areas. So that's makes it fun.
It does.
Yeah. So real quick, why don't you give them your TikTok handle and your Instagram handle so that people can keep up with you and see what we're talking about when we say you've got such a neat approach to social.
Make sure I get my TikTok run right. They're both Triple J's, but Triple J's Pizza ATL on TikTok and at Triple J's, and that's it. At Instagram, we're also on Facebook. They're both, it seems like people that's from far away are supporting us a lot more on TikTok. We got about almost 39,000 followers on TikTok. And on Instagram, almost 13,000.
Yeah.
Like the people are closer. So yeah, Triple J's Pizza, once you put it in there, you'll see our logo. And we'll pop up. Got tons of funny videos that we think apply to our day-to-day.
Yeah.
I just spent 30 minutes on it myself.
Yeah.
Just going through y'all's video.
So we got a lot of content.
It's so addictive.
Us we really be a businesswoman. So yeah, we're learning. There's a lot of free advertising. So yep, that's our ones right there. Follow us and we appreciate it.
One other thing I wanted to say is when you're doing a family business, whatever somebody's good at, let them handle that. As much as you want to be involved and as much as you want to do it, if they're good at it, leave it to them. It's okay. Just join in on the fun.
That's part of being a great leader too.
Right. So, that was one of the things that I kind of learned along the way in running the truck and everything. Some things my husband was so much better at than I was. But I wanted to do it because I feel like this is my business. I got to show him that I can do it. And I can do it by letting him handle the things that he's good at.
Yeah. For sure.
And vice versa. So that would be, excuse me, one piece of advice I would offer to any family that's thinking about doing a food truck, brick and mortar, anything. Whatever that person's good at, let them handle that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. We're going to keep tabs on you guys, but definitely keep us posted on how things are going in Atlanta and when you get that dining room open, because we really want to see what that'll look like post pandemic, whatever that is.
whenever that is.
Whatever that is. So we'll look forward to it.
Thank y'all so much for having us.
Podcast.
Are you guys going to the show? Are you going to the show this year?
Probably not, but it's not about the show itself. It's about Vegas and the rules. We try to make it a full week. Normally, most of the time we flew into LA, stayed for a couple of days, drive to Vegas, enjoy that, and then drive back. I showed her the Hollywood sign and all that stuff. So when things come back to normal, it's an everyday year thing for us. I learn something.
I understand.
Every year.
Maybe
type thing, like I said, because I always wanted to be featured. I actually reached out years ago to Pizza Today, like, y'all should come interview me. And the person responded like, you don't contact us, contact you. So came back.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't Denise.
I didn't hold a grudge. I said, let me step my game up in one day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll be able to come out to Pizza and Pasta Northeast because it's in the fall. So maybe, and you'll be able to go into Philly because Philly's really close.
Yeah.
My dad's from Atlantic City, where he was.
There you go.
So, all right.
We appreciate
Need to put one of those Detroit styles in a competition. I think you guys will do pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm going traditional again. I took 28th in the world, second in the Southeast region. I actually my name was on the board for number 2 in the Southeast region. So I'm ready to get going there.
Yes.
And I'm going to do Detroit as well. So we certainly, and maybe if I can talk one of my sons into doing the box, making something.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. It's been a pleasure meeting you guys.
Well, and you'll see that article coming out real soon because it's gonna drop in about a week.
Yes.
No doubt. We're gonna get it framed.
All right. We'll see you later, guys. Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
All right. You too. Bye.